Hey, you guys, welcome back to another review. This season, I'm going to do The Ultimatum by myself. So, you guys, I watched it on last night and it was a hot mess. And you know, my villains for this season is going to be JR and Sandy, period. Because, yeah, they here to play games. And so, yeah, we're going to get into it. This is going to be episodes 1 through 5. It's going to be a long video. So, just try to keep up. And I'm going to put the pictures in there. So, definitely watch this review. Stay tuned for more.
We keeps it real. Expressing how we feel. Whoa. So come on in and sip some tea. Join the KoEd family. We're about relationships and review. Making it fun just for you. Go with God, let God go with you. It's time for Kourtney and Eddie.
I always put God first.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Kourtney and my husband Eddie. He's not here. He's not doing this season of The Ultimatum, or this, I don't think he never did no season, child. So it's just going to be me solo. So if you are brand new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. This channel is about relationship topics, reviews, and entertainment. And y'all know we like to, do our famous skits and stuff like that or whatever. So make sure that you subscribe so that you can always know when we post a video. Make sure you hit that notification. Make sure you like as well as comment down below. We want to hear from you. What do you think about this season? Have you watched previous seasons? And do you like this season so far? So let us know your opinions and who is your favorite. All right, you guys, so let's just go ahead and get into it, because like I said, it's going to be a long video because I'm not going to do like a whole different bunch of episode videos. I'm just going to put it in one, and I'm going to do chapters. So you can, if you didn't like episode 1, then you can just go to the chapter that I put episode 2 and episode 3. So I'm going to do different chapters. All right, so let's get into it. Like I said, I'm going to put the pictures in here. So let's first start out with Zaina and JR. So Zaina's 32 years old. JR is 33 years old. So they've been dating for 3 years. She is the one that wanted him to, she gave him the ultimatum. So they met on the dating app, and, they've been dating ever since. He said that, and I think this was TMI. I don't know if he said this so that, I don't know. I think it was more of a male ego type of thing. But he said, he let us know that, he was the first to give her oh. Okay, and is that what she told you, bro? Okay, kudos. Women can be a little manipulative, child, and they'll tell you anything, honey. So if that's what the way you felt and that's what she said, and you was bragging about that, okay, cool. Kudos to you. So he was married before. So, this is not his first, this won't be his first marriage. So he was married before. He got married when he was young. I think he was telling to one of the ladies that, he's a PK kid, which is a pastor's kid, preacher's kid. And so, of course, he grew up in the church and no fornicating, abstaining from sex until marriage. And so, I think he got married when he was like 22 or something like that. And so he did it because he was dating this girl and they was, heavily involved. And so, of course, they wanted to have sex. So they decided to get married, but it did not work out. So that's why, he was previously divorced. I think she cheated on him. So, yeah, so he has a problem with, somebody being faithful to him. So he has trust issues in that area because he said he don't want to get married again to get divorced. So he believes in once you married, then that's it. So he said marriage is serious to him and he wants to make sure that it's with the right one. I think, yeah, anyway, let's get into it. So let's go. Nick is 38 years old and Sandy is 27. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but does not Sandy look like that girl from Love is Blind? And I can't remember her name. What's her name? Jessica or something like that. And she had all the men going crazy over her. And y'all know who, I'm trying to find her picture and put it up here. Sandy looked just like her. Just like her. Even some of her mannerisms, like just like her. That's strange. It looked like she done had some work done to her face. So, well, is she obsessed with this latest? I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. But anyway, so like I said, Nick is 38 years old. Sandy's 27. They've been dating for 2.5 years. He is giving her the ultimatum. he is ready to settle down. You know, he's older, she's younger, she's still out there with their nightlife and stuff like that. So, you know, he's ready to settle down, get married, and have a family. She don't know if she's ready for that right now, you know, because there is an age difference. Once again, let's do the math. She's 27, he's 38. She's still out there living her single life, her best life, you know, partying and having a good time going out with her girls. Let's go back. JR is 33 years old. He's been married before, you know, so he's still out there enjoying life and stuff. So it would be ideal, not on paper, but just ideal for these two, Sandy and JR, to hook up. And when I look at, let me shut up. I'm okay. Let me just go on, do the finish the couples. Okay. So let's move on to Mariah. Mariah and Caleb. Mariah is 24. Caleb is 29. They've been dating for 2 years. So she is the one that's giving Caleb the ultimatum. She knows when what she wants, and he said he don't want to be rushed. So he don't want to be rushed to get married. You know, and she was like, well, you know, we've been dating for 2 years, child. I'm like, 2 years. To me, when you're young, like still in your 20s, you should date a little. You know, I got married when I was young. Of course, I'm on my second marriage, but I would not recommend anybody getting married in their 20s. I just wouldn't recommend it. I think at that age, you don't know who you are, what you want technically. You may think you know what you want, but then as you get a little bit older, things change. And so things can change. So I think that you should wait in your 20s to date, even if it's dating exclusively, but I think that you should date, you know, just date. And then that way you'll know what you want, and then you'll know what you want in a partner. And then maybe in your 30s, start considering, you know, getting married. I think Zaina said it perfectly. You know, she was like, you know, I'm getting older. I'm in my 30s. So now I kind of want to move to settling down. So with Nick, he wants to move to settle. He almost 40. And then Sandy, she ain't even 30 yet. Why are y'all together? That's why this man having a calypso over here over a young chick that is not ready for no serious committed relationship, to be honest. That's why she having fun with JR. Anyway, I'm sorry if I spoiled it. But let's move on. So Vanessa and David. Vanessa is 30 years old. David is 34. So they've been together for 3 years. It seems as though she's giving him the ultimatum. He said he's not in a huge rush to get married. You know, again, they 34 years old. She wants somebody that's 100% certain about her. Like, no question asked, 100% like, I'm certain about you. You is who I want. So let's move on to Aria, which is 25 years old, Scotty, which is 30. They've been dating for 30 years. Now, they're in a long distance relationship. So Scotty is the one that gave her the ultimatum. They're in 2 different cities. Well, I guess, you know, cities. I guess they're in the same state. I can't remember. But they're in 2 different cities. She wants to focus on her career. So she's at the peak of her career, and she wants to focus on that. So she's not ready to settle down and get married. I don't blame her, girl. You're 25. She said that one thing that she don't want to do is that she don't want to, you know, get married and because of a man say so, something like that. Like with her parents, she said that she saw her mom like get married, or I don't know, get married, but just kind of like be the yes to her dad, and they ended up getting divorced, and her mom regretted it later. Like, I guess just kind of like going along with the man, whatever he say you do. And she said she don't want that. So just because this man want to marry me, I don't want to do that. And rightfully so. She's 25 years old and she's at the peak of her career. And so he's 30 and he wants to settle down. So I think you need to find somebody like Zerna in their 30s that's ready to do what you're ready to do. So Vanessa shared that she asked Nick for the ultimatum, but she was so busy pointing the fingers. Now, this is Vanessa and Nick, like of the host of the show. So she's just giving an example as far as, she said it before, I guess they created this show or whatever. And so she said she is the one that gave Nick the ultimatum. But she was so busy pointing fingers at him. What he ain't doing. And she realized that, she had some issues that she need to work on. He was saying, okay, Because she was saying, I'm ready to have children, I'm ready to settle down, but yet and still you're going out with your girls and you partying, and coming back at 2 a.m. That doesn't show me that you are in that mode of being ready. So sometimes you have to look at yourself and make sure that you are ready to do that. So you can't just say, now I'm ready once the ring on. No, you got to go ahead and start making those, processes to go that way going forward. So he ready to see some, like you want some, then I want to see some action behind it. I don't want to wait until because it's too late. So she gave them some kind of, encouragement in that area. And then she said both of them are Scorpios, so they're stubborn. I'm a Scorpio. And as we can see, a lot of people, JR, I think, and Sandil Scorpios and stuff like that. So they were like, yeah, Scorpio, blah, 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 blah. So in the sense that though Nick and Vanessa were born on the same day. So had the same birthday. So yeah, so she gave them encouragement. Now, I don't know why they didn't put Chanel and Michael in the beginning when it came around the table and stuff like that or whatever, but we got to see a little bit more of them later. So Chanel is 28 years old and Michael's 27. They've been dating for 2.5 years. She told him when they were in their room. So everybody went back to their rooms and they're getting ready. They're having their last night with their current mate, and then they're going to, break off and do the single thing and not be together the next day. So she was just telling, Michael that, hey, Vanessa told us that, her and Nick had broke up and got back together. Maybe this would be a good thing for us because she is the one that's giving him the ultimatum. He doesn't think that it's the right time right now. He said that just giving her an example, just like you just got that good job. Don't you want to focus on that? Focus on that instead of having kids right now and all that stuff, whatever. So, he just kind of like trying to manipulate the situation, honey, because he ain't ready to settle down and do all that stuff. So let's move on. The couples are doing their speed date. No, the couples are spending their last night together. And so some of the couples are kind of doing their little, talking and stuff like that. It wasn't nothing to write down, nothing to review. If it was something that I felt that was that would be informative to this, then it would. But a lot of them be saying the same redundant stuff. I'm the one that gave you the ultimatum. I did this. You did this. We need to get married. Blah 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 blah. So it's the morning of the day that they are becoming single. So some of the couples are, talking and saying, what it's going to look like. And, they love each other and all that good stuff. So Scott and Ari, sorry. They're talking and they're just talking about, their distance. And Scotty was just saying that he wants somebody that's emotionally connected to him because he doesn't feel that Ari is emotionally connected, and she may not be. She's 25 years old. She also expressed later on that, she's not an affectionate person. So, maybe he is an affectionate person. He likes to touch us. He likes to feel. And if they're in two different cities, they're not seeing each other. They're seeing each other on FaceTime and, all the other stuff, but they're not physically in each other's presence all the time. So, he said he wants that and he wants to be married to somebody that wants to be emotionally connected to him. So Zaina, and JR are talking. And one thing I didn't like is that Zaina, girl, we don't want to see your booty cheeks. Like, if it's in the swimsuit, okay, that is what it is. But girl, it was just like you walking by in your little, I guess, little pajamas and your cheeks all out. Anyway, that was just my, observation. So he's concerned with her matching, and catching feeling. Was you really, bro? I can't tell, honey. You act like she did not exist no more, honey. You were so into, well, I'm just trying to be all in the process. Bro, really? Like, really? I don't like JR. I don't like JR at all. At all. So he concerned about her catching feelings, bro. When you was the first person, you already knew who you wanted. But anyway, so he tells her that and stuff. And so the couple's giving their last kiss and their last goodbye and all that stuff. So let's move on. So now they're doing the speed date. I think this is still on episode 1. So they're doing the speed date. All the singles are mingling and, trying to find the connection and everything. So, they hopping from this person to that person, trying to get to know each other. So now, so they're all getting ready for the cocktail party. So you got they're all single, they're in the same room with their former mate, their ex, and all that stuff. So they're trying to get to know each other. So one thing about it, when JR tells me, I'm gonna spray on this cologne right here, right here, right there, right, bruh. Are you trying to get them, or are you trying to take their life? Bro, listen, men, women, you don't need that much. You don't need that much cologne, perfume, or nothing. It just bothers me when I walk past somebody and I still smell them. When I go in the elevator and their scent is still there. When I have left a room or going into another room and nobody in there but me, but you can smell somebody's perfume cologne. That's too much. That's way too much. And I've had this problem with on jobs going in. I'm like, y'all do too much. Like, who is it for? Or are you trying to trap somebody? Are you trying to hurt somebody? What you trying to do? Can you not smell it? It's just for you, really. It's really for somebody to get close up on you, like a hug or something like that, and then they smell you. It's not for them to smell you and you 10 feet away. It's really not. But anyway, that's my rant. So they are playing a game, and they're playing a different game where they like ask a question, and then they whisper a question in somebody's ear. The only way they're going to answer is when they flip their coin. If it hits head, then they got to give the answer, their honest answer. So I think one of the questions was, who are you least connected with? And then the coin was flipped. And I think that was with Aria. And she said Dave. And I think Dave was like, dang, I thought we had a connection. So, she had to give an honest answer. So that's how the game went. Some feelings was hurt or whatever. So Dave is nervous about Vanessa, because she's into Nick. Now, Vanessa gave him the ultimatum. Dave, to me, in this whole scene, the time he was there, it doesn't have a match with anybody. I don't know if he's just so into Vanessa, he's not opening himself up, but I just don't find him having a match with anybody. Is Dave, how old Dave is, Chad? Dave's not that old. What, 34 years old. Nick, 38, shoot. So Vanessa is into Nick. So, he's concerned about that. Sandy is talking to JR and saying that Nick is not always in the moment. That's a problem with her. So, Sandy and Nick are together. And so she was just saying that, her guy is just not always in the moment. So, he's, like, you think about other stuff, and she wants somebody that's there in the moment, every day. So JR was telling his girl, Zaina, that, was telling Sandy that Zaina is jealous. So, she gets jealous of because he's a personal trainer, of course. And she gets jealous of the women that comment on his Instagram, and post and all that stuff, whatever. So she's very jealous. And so, of course, Sandy was like, well, it comes along with the territory, but as far as, the likes, the stuff you have to do in the post. But, if y'all have trust in the relationship, it shouldn't be no problem. So yeah, he was telling her, he liked her calf muscles and all that stuff, whatever. And they talked about them being Scorpios and how they're sexual and all that stuff, whatever. I felt it should have. I'll wait until we put the couples in there and who chose who before I give my comments here on that. So Zaina is into Scotty. And I like Scotty for her. I do. I really do. He said that she is the epitome of a wifey. So she is what, just in his conversations with her, she is what a wifey is. But, your girl, Aria, is 25 years old. Keep that in perspective. 25 and Zaina is 32. So yeah, she's in that mindset. Your girl is not, because she's still in the peak of her career, whatever her career is. And so she's not in that mindset. So yes, you can. Because me, when I got divorced, the first time, that was the only time, Chad. But when I got divorced, I still was in that mindset of wifey. Even when I was dating, I was like, this right here is not for me. Like, I can't continue to date for years and years and be single for years and years and years, because I'm a wife. Like, I don't know how to be single. I don't know how to, date. It was very hard in the beginning, because I'm still thinking like I was when I was 16 years old, my mindset. Not that I was thinking like that, but just thinking the dating scene was like that. But it was so much different. You know, you had grown men that are in their 40s and 50s, and I don't think I talked to nobody in their 60s, but they're still playing games. And so I knew that this life was not for me. Now, for some women, as well as men, they want to continue to be single. In fact, you got some married men and women that still want to be single and they married. But I knew for me, this right here ain't for me. Like this single life, no. I meant to be a wife. And when you have that mindset and you know what you want, then you know you amplify that. So he did notice that and take note of that. She said that she was attracted to him, and because he was one of the few guys that gave his mate the ultimatum. So both of them gave their mate the ultimatum, and so she was attracted to him, because he was doing that. That let her know that he's the one that want to get married, and he know what he want, and he know what his future looks like. So as they were talking, because they doing all the couples are out there, the cocktail and all this stuff, all the singles, Arya was noticing his chemistry with Zaina. Zaria. It ain't Zaria, it's Zaina. So I be doing good. So y'all know who I'm talking about if I can get it wrong. But I know y'all will correct me again in the comments because that's what y'all like. So Zaina and Scotty was so close, in fact, Jay, he forgot about what girl, who, what, honey, he forgot about his girl. And so, and rightfully so, they are single, they are exes, I'm saying, exes to they exes. And so, he was so captivated with her, close to her, they kind of walked away holding hands. And, Arya saw that and she was so upset, honey. She ran out crying. And Caleb, which is who the guy was trying to get to know her, he came, and comforted her, asked her, was she okay? Did she need a hug? And she said yes. And she just went down just saying, I think that's so disrespectful. He holding her hand in front of me. And so he came along and, they came back and sat down. And so Ari was like, listen, can I talk to you? So here she come. I was like, girl, who came on the show? Didn't you get him the ultimate? No, he gave you the ultimatum. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so anyway, you shouldn't have came on the show. Like you shouldn't have came on the show. I'm sure you see the seasons before. You should know what this show is about. I know, but when you're in the moment, it's still hard to, accept that and see your ex or somebody you love holding hands with somebody else. And so, she sat down and talked to Scotty, and Zaina, removed herself and all that stuff. And so she was just saying that I think it's very disrespectful that you would sit up here and, hold hands in my face with her and do all this stuff with her. I think that's so disrespectful. And so, she's just getting all emotions. She's crying and stuff like that. He kind of raised his voice a little bit. And she was like, you don't have to raise your voice. And, he was just really and truly like, you're not even into physical touch. I don't think that what I did was wrong. He tried to gaslight her and throw some stuff back in her face or stuff like that or whatever. But yeah. Arya was not Arya, but Scotty was telling Zaina that, Arya is not a physical touch type of person. So, that's it for episode 1. Now let's get into episode 2. So this is called the dating week. So Vanessa, and I just wrote down just a little bit thing. This is going to be a quick, episode to go through to review. So Vanessa and Nick, not the host of the show. It's so funny that they're connecting together and that they're not the host, but they have the same names. So Vanessa and Nick, they sit down, they talk about, what their ex didn't like about them and vice versa. So Vanessa was just saying that Dave doesn't like her bodybuilding. So she stopped. That was something that she enjoyed doing. He didn't want to come to her tournaments and all that stuff, whatever. So, that was something that she stopped. And Nick was like, hey, I don't mind. I'll do it. I will encourage you and I will come in and sit there and, support you through it. She was also saying, that, she's weird. And then Nick also was saying that, he feels that he's weird as well. And they kind of bonded over that. So Dave and Chanel, they're talking. So she wants to be with, Chanel says she wants to be with somebody that's fun and somebody that, can show her her blind spots. They both said that, if they see their ex, like getting physical with somebody, they're both going to be hurt. Now, Dave and Chanel, I think they're just a safe space. I don't think that there's no chemistry, no attraction. I think Chanel, just trying to find somebody to bond with, but she's not finding anybody, but Dave is more safe for her. So Michael is connecting with Mariah. I don't see chemistry with them. So they all meet up again. They're playing Never, Ever, Have I Ever, whatever the game is. So JR is talking to Michael and he was like, two black guys. He was like, man, he kind of talking low, but he was like, man, have you ever been with a white girl before? And Michael was like, yeah. He's like, you have? He was like, I done been with one, meaning that he done slept with one, but have I dated one? Nah, I ain't never dated one. So he was like, yeah, me either. So, this would be new for him. So he was like, Sandy, she's fiery. He likes that about her, but he was like, Aria, she's safe. And I said, when you said that, I already knew. See, what it is that I think that Sandy brings out JR's sexual chemistry because they're both Scorpios. There is, a sexual, chemistry that, Scorpios can connect with somebody, but, bring out the sexual chemistry because when they both look at each other, I just see that they just really have sex. I don't see all the deepness that they talking about. You know what I'm saying? They may have a line in certain areas, but I just see a lot of physical touch. I see a lot of physical chemistry. I see a lot of sexual chemistry. When he's with Aria, I don't see that. I see chemistry. I like him with Aria. I think that Aria and JR are a better match. But I do notice his mannerism when he's with Aria. He's more down to earth. He's more mannerable. He like Aria said, at first when I saw you, I thought you was just muscles, but I get to know you and you have so much depth to you. And I think that, he don't want that. Like he said, she's safe, and I think if you on this show trying to really and truly match with somebody that's more of your speed, I don't think like now's the time to find something that you normally wouldn't be around and date. I think you need to date with somebody that can help bring you up or bring you better or see if you can have a future with. But no, you are with Sandy because Sandy doesn't want the ultimatum. You don't want the ultimatum. But I think you guys just want to have fun. So yeah, let's move on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So but he said Aria is like black Hispanic. Well, then that should be even more enticing for you. Anyway, so Dave is talking to Vanessa, and so he's saying to her that, he's just crying, he tearing up. He was like, I'm scared for this process and everything. So Vanessa was like, I'm excited. He was like, you're excited? She was like, yeah, I'm excited. Like, we're supposed to just, enjoy the process, and we're supposed to be all into the process. So, I'm excited. And this man over here toe up. Yeah. So Vanessa, the host, and Nick, the host of the show, they are bringing them together. And so they said, listen, now we're at the table. Now y'all need to finalize and see who y'all want to be with. So Scotty stands up and he chooses Zaina. Zaina turns around and she chooses him as well. And I like them together. Again, I think that they're a good match. I think that there is physical attraction, but I don't see it like, a whole bunch of sexual energy and they just, I think that they are really and truly trying to get to know each other and trying to see if, this process work and see if that's somebody that they can, even spend the rest of their life with. So they're doing their trial marriage. So Aria tears up. Here she go, Jack. Gotta cry the whole time. So Aria tears up and said that, during this even dating process, she's learned that, she had some insecurity that she didn't know that she had. JR said, because these are the exes that are speaking. So JR said that, like you said, Scotty, any man would be lucky to have Zaina. And that is true, yeah. JR, I don't think you need to have her. I really don't. I think you're having a good time doing what you want to do, honey. So Mariah chooses Micah. They're just safe, and he chooses her. because I don't see either one of them having like a true connection with anybody else. They just had little conversations and stuff like that. One thing about the ultimatum, like you only get so many couples. Like you're only getting the opposite, like the exes of the ones that are there. It's not like you can go out there and choose somebody that's more compatible with you. So you just got to choose from what's there. And sometimes it's not a connection with anybody that's there. So sometimes people just have to do what's safe. So JR is okay. I'm sorry. Chanel chooses Dave, and okay, what's he? So Chanel chooses Dave. He chooses. I didn't put that down. And Dave chooses her. I didn't put that down though. Yeah. I guess when I put Chanel chooses Dave, then it's oh yeah, Michael, tears up. This is what I put. So Michael tears up and said, that's my best friend. You chose, Chanel chose you, like, bro, that's my best friend. Just make sure that you make sure she's safe, or you gonna need some safety. I said, okay, yeah, go ahead, a little bit, I see you. Okay. No, Dave taller than you, bro. So yeah, and Dave chooses her. So JR, I want to call him Junior. So JR talks about his connection with Arya. And I knew it. I knew it in my gut. I knew it. So he was talking about his connection with Arya and how they have such a good connection. But then he also talked about his connection with Sandy and the physical touch and all that stuff, whatever. So Sandy talked too much for me because she want to talk about everybody at that table. Girl, you's not the host. Girl, shut up. You want to talk about this and shut up. I don't know if other people did that and maybe they edited it out, but she just talked too much for me. Sandy said she went she wanted to see the fiery side or even the more of JR. I call him JR, that's his name, but I really want to call him Junior. And everything because she didn't have that with Nick. And so Nick was like, it's funny to see that you talking about, you ain't even like to stare at me in my eyes, but then you staring at this man in his eyes, like you're doing all the things that with him that you didn't do with me and said that you didn't want to do with me. But anyway, so JR choose her, Sandy, and Sandy choose him. And let's see. Now on episode 3. So on episode 3, JR expressed that him and Sandy come from 2 different backgrounds, and it's something that he wants to explore. It's something that he wants to, see, how they connect and all that stuff, whatever. And so, it is what it is. So let's move on. Vanessa said that Nick, you are somebody that, I can see myself being with. So Vanessa chose him, and Nick chose her. Arya tells Caleb, because that's all that's left. Like, I was like, because I thought that Nick would choose Arya. And I think Arya thought that, not Nick, I'm sorry, that JR would choose Arya. And Arya thought that JR would choose her too. So I think she had to go. Thank God she had somebody in her back pocket, which was Caleb, because they was the last ones that's left. Ain't no sense of telling some Arya who you chose. Child, who left? Nobody. Like, nobody's left. Like Caleb, I seen that on the Ultimatum from South Africa. Now that was good. Now it's not many seasons, and it's been for a while since I've seen really good reality TV. But the Ultimatum South Africa, that was really good. That was really good. So I brought that to say that kind of like that happened on that episode, on that season. So Arya tells Caleb, hey, you have made me feel secure because, you have checked on me. You've been concerned about me. And so I choose you. And so he chooses her. So now let's move on. So they go to move in together. Mariah and Michael, which ain't no chemistry, Chad. It ain't no chemistry. It's just awkward for them. You know what I'm saying? They're going back from this and they're going back to their respective rooms and all that stuff in there, and they're just talking, and you can just feel the awkwardness between them two. Arya is crying to Caleb because she was just saying, it's hard to let Scotty go. and all that stuff. And I'm saying, Caleb, I hope you ain't finna get a weeping willow the whole time y'all together. And so, but he did tell her, just let go of that and just, embrace this journey, embrace the process. And so Sandy was asking JR was his real name, like what the JR mean and stuff like that. He was like John Richards or something like that. So, they just having a little small talk while they was in bed. And so Micah is texting Chanel. And Chanel gets up like 3 o'clock in the morning. It seems like he was texting her. And so she tells Dave that she's going out for a minute to get some fresh air. And, Mariah waking up looking for Micah. So, mhm. Now, Micah doesn't have a connection with Mariah. Period. You can see that. And Chanel, to me, doesn't have a connection with David. You can see that. So, is this where the plot thickens, honey, where these folks leave? They all are waking up the next day. Nick tells Vanessa that, he ran into Sandy, and Sandy let him know that her and JR kissed, and he devastated. I was like, girl, what you tell him that for? Like, Sandy is not into Nick. Now, when they get back together and they come back, and stuff like that or whatever, I hope that he can see this girl does not love you. She's not into you, bro. Because why would she tell you that? Like, even if you ask, and I think she said, well, he asked, and I said, why? Why? That's not his business. You see, this man is just crazy. So now episode 4. So Sandy tells JR what she about that she ran into Nick and all this stuff, whatever, and he was breaking down and all this stuff, and we kissed, and JR said, that he gets it, he understands and all this stuff, whatever. So Vanessa left. Oh yeah, okay. So this is the part I thought was juicy, honey. Yes. So we get a scene where they're showing Vanessa leaving. And Mariah wake up and she says she's looking for Micah and all of his stuff is gone. So it seems as though that Michael left the empty room. Nick said that Vanessa packed up and she left. Now Vanessa and Nick I thought would be good. You know what I'm saying? Their connection was hot. Even though Nick was still into his girl, but their connection was strong. Maybe Nick was crying, whining too much about, I miss my girl, I miss her, she doing that. Maybe that got on her nerve, but I thought that they were strong. And Nick was like, he came back, he was like, Vanessa's stuff gone. Like her room empty, all her stuff is packed up. And so he was like, I'm so shocked because I thought we had a strong connection. And I did too. But I would love to hear that the reunion what happened. And he could have just been talking about that girl too much. And so it seems as though Dave left, Vanessa left, Micah left, and Chanel left. They all left in the middle of the night. They came together, they got a plan, and they met up and they decided to leave. And it was just 3 days into the trial marriage. Now, I think, so Vanessa and Dave left, right? So Vanessa gave Dave the ultimatum. Dave was not into Chanel. He wasn't. He was really concerned about Vanessa. He was concerned about her being so into Nick. He was threatened, by Nick. He cried and teared up a little bit and everything. So I can see him leaving, but I don't understand why Vanessa left unless he really and truly talked her into, leaving with him. But I really saw a genuine connection with her and Nick. So I'm really shocked. But I can see Chanel and Michael leaving. Child, just go back home, honey. Be together. Y'all ain't got a connection here, child. Just be with each other. Go fly like the birds in the wind, honey. Bye, bye, bye. So anyway, so the cast have been informed that, those 4 people left and, they're kind of talking about it like I'm shocked. And, now you got Mariah by herself and you got Nick by himself. And, I'm saying, why are y'all there? But I get it. They're there to continue the process with, just kind of finish out this trial marriage thing so that they can go back to the, they exes. So, because I forgot, then they're going back and live together. So, Nick trying to tough it out. So Nick talking to Mariah and talking about, they meeting up and they're talking about, they left and stuff like that. Nick said that, he's gonna miss her. And Mariah was just talking about her issues, this kind of put her in the mind when she was abandoned. She was abandoned when she was young. And it kind of, it makes it tough for her in relationship. So now they're going to have to, be in this trial marriage alone, be in their apartment alone, eating alone, all that stuff. And I was like, why can't they be together like in one room? I don't know. But anyway, so Aria and Caleb are talking. And she was talking about, her parents separated when she was like in college, and her mom just kind of like blurted it out the blue. Like, me and your dad separating, it was kind of like a shocker for her, so it wasn't like she sat her down, just kind of explained things to her. And so, she has, issues in that area. So, it's probably one of the reasons why she don't want to get married. And then she also said that her parents was in an open marriage. I was like, dang. So I'm thinking, most women, not all, unless your name Jada Pinkett, but most women don't want to be in an open relationship or open marriage. Most of the time they do it for the spouse, most of the time, unless they polyamorous. But and so what it is that probably they had an open marriage because I'm sure it's something that the man wanted to do, probably, hypothetically speaking. But it's not something that the woman wanted to do, the wife. And so I guess she realized, this open marriage caused more drama and they ended up, getting a divorce. But that's so surprising that the child knew that her parents was in an open relationship, open marriage. I wonder, did she know during the time that they was doing it? Or did she find out later on? This is weird. So let's move on. So Junior, and I am tired because I guess they don't have enough couples for us to see. So I'm tired of seeing Junior and Sandy. I'm tired. Tired of seeing them on screen. I'm tired of seeing all this rubbing and touch. I'm tired of seeing it. I don't like JR. I don't like saying that. I think that they are villains to this show. I don't think that neither one of them want to be married. And they took the ultimatum to come on this show, probably get up their followings and all that stuff, whatever. But I don't think that they're here for the right reasons at all. And so they probably sought at each other because each other just want to come on here and showboat and all that stuff, whatever. And they do have sexual chemistry, but I don't think they're trying to do this to see if, hey, I'm going to do this whole process. No, I'm just here chilling. And if I give me some, I give me some. Because I do think they had sex, period. I think. So JR and Sandy are bowling. And they are bowling. And as they're bowling, they talking about, as far as, if I win, then you got to cook for me. And if you win her, then however, I think she had to cook in, blah, 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 whatever. But he was like, you're going to have to wear my shirt to bed, I guess, with nothing on underneath. And so you notice he pat her on the butt when she was bowling. Like, to me, it got to be that y'all did more than kissing, bruh. Like, y'all had to be, like, if it's just kissing, to me, just on the lips like that, no, you patted this woman on the butt. Like, you got real comfortable. Like, real comfortable. Like, the only person patting me on my butt is my husband. Yep. Even if I was dating somebody, you can't pat me on the butt. So I'm just trying to see, like, where y'all just went from little smooches to patting on the butt. So JR and Sandy are talking, and he expressed, he likes spending time with her. It's like magical. They are talking about kids and all that stuff, whatever. So they outside eating on the balcony. I don't know who cooked dinner, but they outside eating on the balcony. And I think he looked down and he noticed that Nick was down there. He was like, oh, there go Nick. There go your ex. And so she was like, oh my God. So she runs away and go inside and stuff like that. And he was like, I don't think he saw us. He probably did. Nick ain't got nobody there, child. He ain't got number time. So Nick is painting like the angry painter. So he painting, trying to get all his frustrations out and stuff like that. He said it's been a while since he painted like this. It's good because as far as him painting, he's getting his real emotions out, and he's able to start back to painting. He said that he still can't believe that Vanessa left, and it's been tough because he really thought that they had a good connection. And it's really truly it would have been hard to be with anybody other than your ex, like the person that you was with, came on the show with. It'd been hard to be with anybody, but he thought it would have been good for them to see the process out. Now, the only thing that I can say, that the way Vanessa seemed like she was so smitten by Nick had to for them 3 days, he must have had to continue to keep talking about Sandy. Saying. He must have dreamed about it, crying about it, peeking through the window. He must have been doing all that. He must have been doing all of that. So let's move on to Scotty and Zaina. They're talking. Yeah, this was hard. So Zaina asked the question, they playing basketball and stuff like that. And so she said, if you can go back and change one thing, what would it be? He said, you want me to get deep? She said, yeah, for sure. So he said that he told a story, and he said that he got a speeding ticket one time, and his dad disciplined him. And he felt that it was, for the ticket, and he felt that it was harsh. So, he, I guess, woke up the next day or went to the gym or something like that, and his dad was like, I love you. And he said he didn't say it back. And he said, and he never saw his dad again. Like, his dad died. I was like, dang, that's some of like one of them ABC movies. You know what I'm saying? When you used to come home, or what it was, homeschool movies. I don't know, but it's Lifetime. It's one of them movies, honey. So his dad passed away, and so now he just don't take life for granted. He say the I love yous. He's connected to his family, and he just don't take it for granted. And so Zaina was like, "Golly, I thank you for sharing." She was like, "Wow, that's rough." So he believe in giving people their flowers while they're still here. So Caleb and Arya are they're talking about their connection and everything, and they and it seems as though that Arya is really connecting with Caleb. Like, at first she said that their relationship was more of a friendship, but she can see it evolving into a deeper connection. So I think she's kind of falling for Caleb. Like, I like to see them together. I like to see her laugh. Like, she is Arya is 25 and Caleb is 29, so they're in a good range. Well, Scott is just 30, honey. So, but it's just mindset as well. But I think Caleb is the one. Mariah is the one that was 24 that gave Caleb the ultimatum. So, so neither one of them, they're connected. They wanted to be married. So she really vibing with Caleb. I like them together. I really do. She laughs a lot with him. And you can just see the connection. So let's move on to I'm tired of talking about JR and Sandy, honey. They talk about cheating is a deal breaker. And, as far as his ex-wife, she cheated. And Sandy said that, he need to let his walls down. And if I'm not mistaken, that the girl said she think she love him. Like, did she not say that? I heard it. Did y'all hear it? She said it real fast, but she said, I think I love him. And I know you can say that like to something, oh, I think I love it. But it's just the way that she just kind of threw it in there. So yeah, I don't see her going back to Nick, child. Not for real. Not that it be nothing sustainable or depth. No, Nick crying like a baby, child. So they go back into the apartment and they shut the door because when they was doing that scene, they was in the swimming pool, they was naked, body with body and all that stuff, whatever. And I said, I guess nobody else can see them. And so, they go back in the room because I think that they was doing some kissing in. It didn't look like it was tongue, I think because they on camera, but they was doing some kissing. And they went back in the room and they shut the door. They shut the bedroom door. And I think they had sex. And I don't think that was their first time. Nope. So I can't wait to hear it that they were intimate. And I hope somebody spilled the beans. Yep. So now we're on to next episode 5. This is the last one. So here we go. Episode 5. So Zaina meet up with her friends to introduce Scotty to them. And the friends was like, okay, I see him. I see him. So he said that Zaina is an incredible woman. Tell the friends. He's not sure if he still would even act, like his girlfriend or ex to marry him, like, because he was the one that came with the ultimatum. So meeting Zaina, he felt like, hey, I don't even know if I'm ready to get married or if I would want to marry Area. So, and they was like, and she said the same thing. Like, she's not sure if she would want to even be married to JR. You don't want to. You don't want to, girl. You don't want to. I tell you now, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. He know the reason he was not ready to be married because he still got a little O in him. He got a little ho ho ho. America. He got a little bit of that in him. He do. Like he do. That's why he didn't want to go with Area. She's safe. He want to go with somebody that's fiery. Scorpio, fiery, honey. So yeah, he wanted to because he wanted the ho ho ho. So yeah, he did. He did. So Caleb and Aria are playing Chubby Bunny. Now I think I seen this on social media a long time ago. You take the marshmallows and you have to say Chubby Bunny. So, but they had some really big marshmallows. I guess they got to be that big. And you put how many marshmallows you can in your mouth and saying Chubby until you can't say Chubby Bunny no more. And I thought it was so hilarious. And I love the way Aria just bust out and started laughing. Now, one thing about Caleb, he wasn't trying to show us him stuffing his mouth with those marshmallows on camera. He turned to the side. But yeah, I thought that was so cute. I thought it was so funny. I thought that brought out the laughter. And, I love that connection. Like, he really makes her laugh. And I enjoy that. So she said she said this on her confession. At first, she wasn't attracted to him. But, the attraction came later. And she noticed that she wasn't this affectionate, and she is now. So that's why I even said on Married at First Sight. We review those shows and Ready to Love and stuff like that. Just going off appearance at first, you cannot let that stop. You got to get to know, and as long as they ain't ugly. Like, what I'm saying? If you're just totally not attracted to me, like they're just ugly to you, then I don't know if that can surpass it. And some people it can. But I would just say get to know that person before you just write them off like, oh my gosh, they're too this, they're too that, I don't like that, da, 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 da. They're not my normal type. Sometimes you have to step outside of what's the norm for you because the norm has gotten you where? You're still single, you're still depressed, you're still mad, so you got to sometimes step outside the box. So let's move on to Sandy introduces. Oh my gosh. This was so hard to watch. It really was a little cringing for me. So Sandy introduced her mom and her sisters to JR. Why they were just gloating on here like he's some kind of toy, some kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? I don't know. I saw a little different. Ooh, black man. Oh my God, muscle, black man. And black man. So anyway, they were just gloating over him, touching on his body, looking at his tattoos and stuff like that. And they was like, "Ooh, you work out." Mama said, "Yeah, I noticed that, honey, when I gave him that hug, child." JR said, for him, it was like love at first sight. Bro, do you know you got a whole girlfriend? Like that you've been with for 3 years? Like, are you that smitten? You never dated a white woman before? You're just going ham? You're just in like that? Oh my gosh, embarrassing. Embarrassing. Oh, it was love at first sight. I call her wifey. You call her wifey? But you're not going to call your girlfriend of 3 years wifey? You're not gonna. She gave you the ultimatum. You're like, I ain't ready. I just want to make sure because this is my second marriage. But I can't tell with this one. You're just loving this white woman. You know, wrong with being that, but it's almost like he's so infatuated because I've never dated with a white woman before, a white girl before. So now I'm just so infatuated. Oh my gosh, I call her wife and love at first sight. But anyway, so he talks about, him being a PK kid and all this stuff because her mom asked, "Are you religious?" He was like, "I'm a preacher's kid," and so and all that stuff, whatever. But anyway, let's move on. I get tired of him seeing on the camera. But let's move on. Nick found out that JR met Sandy's mom and he had a calypso. And I bet she was like, "No, if they like him, I'm surely out." She cares what her mama thinks, she cares what her sister thinks. If they really and truly like him, I'm for sure. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. And so he tripping out. So they got the cameras in his living room. And so yeah, he just cussing, he crying, he like, oh my God, you would have thought somebody passed away. For real, for real. Like you would have thought somebody passed away for real, for real. You into this young girl, 10 years younger than you, bro. You need to get somebody your own age. And yeah, you into this young girl. I don't know what she do in the bedroom, but honey, if that's what it is, you sprung. You should have never came on the show. You should have, ain't you the one that, you should have never came on the show. You didn't watch the show previously. You didn't know that they were going to be switching up. You didn't think that it was going to be a fine person there that she'll be attracted to. Anyway, so he flipping out and all that stuff with her. He called her, she hang up, and he be like, "Hello, hello." So he found out where they stayed and he went and knocked on the door. Cause JR was right there the whole time while he was on the phone with her and all that stuff, whatever. So JR answered the door. And he was like, "I need to see her." You're like, "Bro, don't come in here. You don't come in here doing all that stuff. This my wife. This your wife?" Excuse me. Excuse me. This your wife? Brother, get a white girl. Don't know how to act on it. Don't know how to act. Don't know how to act. I don't know if he would have been doing all that with Aria, but okay, all right. So anyway, so he was like, "This my wife. You don't come in here doing all this stuff. Like I ain't the one. You need to go back home, bro. Don't do all this stuff. You ain't trying to talk to my wife, And so he walked away, crying, and go back to his place, bawling, boo, crying. Y'all get JR and send off my screen, like for real. Y'all should have been packed up and gone home. Should have packed up and gone home. So anyway, so Scotty and Zayna. Scotty and Zayna are together. So, Scotty asked, did she want to, do some kind of, date night or dates? Did she want to do hot air balloon? She was like, "No, hot air balloon, like that's up too high. That'll get my anxiety." He was like, "Do you want to do what it's called cryotherapy or something like that?" And she was like, "Ooh, be in cold water. No, I don't want to do that." And he was like, "Well, dang, what do you want to do?" So he felt like, well, just don't worry about it, bro. Just like, just don't worry about it. And so she was like, "Well, it's nothing against you. I'm not rejecting you." And so he was like, "Yeah, I don't know how to deal with rejection. I've been rejected before in the past. And so, that's hard for me." So, and so she was like, "I just don't want to do those things, but you come up with something else, let's see if it's something I want to do." And I was like, dang, he kind of flipped the script. Okay. Scott, don't make me say, "Bro, you crazy, going on somewhere," because you just like, now maybe editing, maybe they did 5 things that she turned down. You know what I'm saying? But it looked like it was just 2. And he got in his feelings. And so she was up there eating. He was like, "You eating without me too?" I was, "Oh no, bro. I'm gonna have to send you back to Cinder. Push you on back over there. Push you on back over there with Aria. Because right now, bro, you're doing too much." I remember, I'm not saying that, we're not like that now, but Eddie did like for me to eat with him, And I remember one time we was on a plane and we was going to Vegas. And but Eddie was nothing like that. And so he was like, "Well, I was hungry." And Eddie don't eat everything. And so I was like, "I'm gonna have to order some of this, whatever, on this plane, because yeah." And I was hungry. And I knew it was some kind of wrap. And Eddie didn't eat that. So I ate it. He was like, "Dang, you ate without me." Sure did, honey. Stomach calling, I got the answer. Okay. So yeah. But he wasn't nothing like the way Scotty acted. Scotty acted very possessive. So Nick and Mariah are doing boxing and stuff like that. So, he got all his frustration out, and he was just saying, he was telling Mariah what happened. It just kind of freaked him out. And she was like, just like chill. Just embrace the process, but don't be doing all that. So they're getting ready for the ladies' night and everything. And so Sandy, found the outfit to wear. Ooh, I sounded real country when I said that. So Sandy found the outfit to wear. And when she put it on, JR was like, dang, you look good. Oh, you need to just wear that with me. Bro, you do know this is a trial marriage, bro. You do know this girl is not your girl for real, right? You know that? You that much into the process, like you all in, like you do know this is not your girl. Like, it's just weird. It's very, very weird. I'm starting to believe what the rumor was. It's very, very weird. And so, he was like, yeah, you need to take that off. You need to wear that with me. And I think she took it off because when he went to the ladies' night, she didn't have that on. Yep. Yep. I think they probably forget them cameras there. So Sandy tells the ladies that, how Nick has been, how he's been acting, calling and, not embracing the process and, and all that stuff. And I think that was Mariah that said, after looking at everything, I don't think that Nick will make a good husband. Like the way he's been acting and stuff like that, I don't think he will make a good husband. Sandy tells Zaina, because she with her man, that we're not hooking up. Why would you say that? Like we're just embracing the process, and I tell him a lot of stuff about you and things that he need to be a better person for you, but we're not hooking up. Why would you say that if you're not hooking up? They hooked up. They hooked up. If I tell you we're not hooking up, then yeah, we hooked up. Yep, we had sex. We did all the deeds. We did it. We did it. What they said we did, we did. Okay. So let's see. So Mariah and Aria. Now, one thing that Aria was telling Caleb, listen, I'm not gonna tell. I'm gonna tell your girl that I'm catching feelings. And he was like, no, I don't think that'd be a good idea. Just tell her we're friends, stuff like that, because I don't want her hurt. But Aria went in there and pretty much told him, yeah, get your feelings. Like, I don't care what you say, bro. I'm finna tell her. So Mariah and Aria talking, and Aria just saying Caleb don't like that over communication. That's one thing that he don't like. And Aria is just saying that, he don't like the fact that you over communicate, like if you're going somewhere, you telling him, hey, I'm here, call me when you get here or do this. And then she was like, well, I thought that was just communication. I didn't think that was over communicating. I just didn't want him to be worried or concerned and stuff like that. And Aria tells her, as far as, that we have a emotional connection. And she also feels hurt when she's with him. So yeah, Aria also saying that, some stuff that, what's her name, Mariah does can be toxic to their relationship. Like, chill. Don't do this, don't be jealous of this and don't be all of that and stuff. So the guys meet up, and first thing Nick does is he apologized to JR. And he was saying that, I apologize on how I, spazzed out and all that stuff, whatever. And JR was just saying, dude, it was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very disrespectful. And, I just didn't appreciate you coming to, my apartment and you want to talk to, I don't know if he said it in front of him, his wife. But yeah, I felt that was disrespectful. He was like, yeah, you're right, Um, and Nick said, I just get a little emotional because the way that she look at you, she used to look at me like that. Like the way she's so smitten by you, she used to be like that with me. And, I just don't know how to take that, and I have a hard time taking that. So yeah. But Nick also expressed that, bro, it's not just me on her, it's also her on me. Like, she's texting me that, she misses me and all that stuff, whatever. JR said, okay, that's fine. But, he also let him know, like, bro, I see why you want to marry her. Like, she's real cool and chill. Like, I see why. But JR just really truly like poking the bear. He's like, bro, I got your girl. And, I'm spending time with your girl. And you weren't finna come over to my apartment and try to speak to your girl. Like, you weren't finna do that. Like, no. So I got this over here. I can't wait till you get back with your girl. I can't wait till you get back with your girl. And I hope every bit of truth, because it's going to be a scene where say, oh, you kissed her? Bro, what your name is, Zaina. That ain't all he did, honey. I may not show it on the camera, but that ain't all he did. That's not all he did. So anyway, Nick asked Caleb, how him and Ari was doing. And, he was like, well, we just friends. That's because Scotty right there. Like, and Scotty was saying off camera, like, I don't see how nobody can be with Arya, like, as gorgeous as she is, and just be telling some we just friends. Like, no heterosexual man. And he was like, bro, I just don't believe that. I think he lying. Scotty said Scotty was saying that Zaina needs somebody that to be emotionally connected to her. That's who Zaina needs. She needs somebody that's emotionally connected to her and has nothing to do with him. So he was saying that, Scotty was saying that, but he was saying it more towards JR. And he was saying, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you what it is. And so JR was like, you sure about that? He was like, what? What you mean you sure about that? He said, yeah, I heard the rumors and stuff like that. I heard that you said I came on this show just so I can get a hall pass. He was like, what? I didn't say that, bro. He said, you sure you didn't tell my girl that and trying to get her more, on your side because, you're trying to feed her this information and you're trying to get her more on your side? I was like, JR, let's be serious. Bro, you ain't mentioned your girl since you've been on this show. Not we seen it. You have not mentioned. You have not said anything. We have not seen. It was almost like you came on single and you found somebody while you was here. And now you locked in. Because I can't tell that you came on here for the right reason. So I can believe that you came on here for a hall pass. Now, did Scotty say it? I don't know, but somebody did say it. So yeah, he pissed off at Scotty that because he feels that Scotty said it and all that stuff. So that was it for all 5 episodes. I gave it to you a little over an hour, honey. So yes, y'all make sure that if you have not watched the Ultimatum for this season, all 5 episodes were released on Wednesday. The next episodes, I think it's going to be 3 or 4, is going to be released on next Wednesday. So if you haven't watched, y'all join so we can watch this together. So we can comment below. Tell me your thoughts, your opinions. Who is your favorite and who is your least favorite? Because y'all know who is your least favorite for the girls, who is your least favorite for the guys, who is your favorite for the girls, who is your favorite for the guys. I would say, just looking at it now, because Scotty gave me some reservation, it probably would be Caleb is my favorite for the guys. Well, then Caleb was like, just tell her we friends. I don't know. But I can say my least favorite is Scotty and JR. And then my favorite for the girl would be Ari. I think that she's pretty chill. And I like Zaina as well. So I don't know. All right, you guys, that's it. That's all I have. I will see you guys on the next video. We're going to be doing Bell Collective on Friday. We review Married to Medicine if you're new here. We also do one of our favorites is Love is Blind. We do that too. But Married at First Sight. So we will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to go with God and let God go with you. And always put God first. Deuces.
Always put God first.